11 firefighters have died in Turkey fighting these wildfires. And what I'm about to show you is a whole lot creepier. It looks like we're gazing into the apocalypse. And just know when I say wildfire, I use the term wild very, very, very loosely. This part is insane though. Do you remember last night how I made the video about Corinthia, Greece being on fire where the church of Corinth was? I think the biggest wildfire on the earth right now is in Turkey, and that is where the 7 churches in Asia Minor in the 1st century that Revelation was actually written to. That brings on a whole new revelatic meaning. Here's the creepiest part. What in the world is happening in Africa right this minute? Because no news is talking about it. That map is only for today, like the last 24 hours. Since the news is not covering the whole earth on fire, that's why I'm doing it. This is NASA's fire tracking chart. You can see many of the fires going on the West Coast and also the middle of America. Why aren't we being told about something so severe and so serious? If you don't know, for about a month now, I've been covering the Turkey fire. That's how long it's been on fire. Like, I believe this was from 2 weeks ago. Why is no other country helping with this crazy fire? Maybe that's why. This behind me is Corinthia, Greece. Do y'all think that this is some kind of coincidence that Corinthia, Greece itself is on fire? This video is wild because for a second it looks like a tornado of fire. Greece is just one of many locations that are on fire right now, but Corinthia, Greece is literally where the church of Corinth was. The same church that Paul dealt with harshly, so harshly to where they said he was a false teacher, a false Christ follower. And the fact that it's in flames right now is just very revelating to me.
Isn't that a real word?
Yeah, we know. But this is just one fire out of hundreds of fires. Speaking of fires, heat, Dubai had a 1 a.m. temperature heat index of 130 degrees Fahrenheit. In the middle of the night. That's deadly heat, but let me show you what it's doing. As we enter the hurricane season, you can see how the very top of this line, how obnoxiously high we are. Because the surface temperature of the water itself is obnoxiously high. Completely 1000% unrelated. We talk about frequency here an awful lot. And about energy, vibration, and friction in the air can cause certain things to happen. Like the last video I showed you, and this right here, and this up here, things like this aren't supposed to happen every single day. But who knows why these things are happening every single day. We saw 10 of these formations in the United States last week alone. So I guess my question is it all really just random? Of course it is. Massive earthquakes, plagues of locusts, and flooding all over Kyiv? But it's so much deeper than that, just wait till I show you. And of course it's all unrelated. Are y'all aware that right now we have a massive pattern of earthquakes all around, Alaska going into Russia? You cannot tell me this whole situation is looking super revelatic right now. Be quiet, we know. But wait till I show you this. Completely unrelated, 1000%. The deputy of staff at the White House felt it necessary just 2 hours after all these earthquakes to make 2 posts on Twitter and say, I'm in Alaska. What are the odds? I mean, come on, 1 in a million? Unrelated, y'all should look up all the big things that they work on in Alaska. Unrelated again, what in the world is going on with all the earthquakes in this little part right here? I mean, it's just super problematic, right? And then of course the timing, we have floods in Kyiv at the same exact time, but not just floods, we have the locust, as if we're in Egypt itself. But let me tell you something, a couple years back we had a crazy locust outbreak around Mecca, right? Do you know what happened after that outbreak? There was massive flooding, and at the same time one of their signature buildings was hit by lightning, much like, wow. And unrelevant, watch Buffalo, because we see this thing shoot out over Lake Erie. Pretty weird, right? No telling what that could be. Demonic possession right in front of your face. They always have to show you who their God is and that they are literally satanic. Watch what Wiz Khalifa does right here in this video. You see that tongue? We're gonna talk about that in a minute. They are mocking you. And read the caption. But where have we just seen this very recently? The same exact thing, same tongue movement and everything. By the way, notice all the red and black. That's right, The Weeknd had just gone viral for the same thing not too long ago. And this is obviously the mocking tongue. You remember when that one guy came out and talking about it and everyone called him crazy? Beyond popular opinion, you don't have to do a hand sign to do the mocking tongue. Now first, let's address all the people who are saying in the comments that Wiz Khalifa is not satanic. Wiz Khalifa was my generation, and we all knew it. Just look at his video, Black and Yellow, the shirt right there. Oh, you think it's a one-off? No, that's him every single day. There's the boff again on his ring. We could go far into the tongue stuff, but let me tell you who popularized it within entertainment. It was the Rolling Stones. The same Rolling Stones that made the song where the devil was literally speaking himself. Satan himself speaking, because these artists literally channel the devil. Like Rain Man, I've been around for a long year, stole many a man's soul and faith. I was around when Jesus Christ had his moments of doubt and pain. By the way, there was no doubt. Made dang sure that Pilate washed his hands and sealed his fate. I watched in glee while your kings and queens fought for 10 decades for the gods that they made. The industry is so evil, it's the things I'm not saying that are the worst. Get out of it while you can. It never ends. By the way, this is South Carolina today. Yeah, the clouds are falling out of the sky. Even the weather people themselves are coming out and saying that the flooding is 70% above what's normal. And I say that as Boston and Indiana has cars floating in the water right now. I'm sorry, but does no one remember the doomsday map that was acquired by divination? It was for the year 2025. That's weird, right? Surely we know that something is up. But all the sleepy people around us, somewhere around Korea. Mexico's been flooding for 3 days in a row. Everything I'm showing you is from the last 24 hours. And of course, now out of habit, I look at the Schumann frequency, and what do you know? It is beaming. Headaches, no sleep, ringing ears, zoned out. You feel it? But did you know that every single day new fires are being started somehow in the United States? This is Colorado. There's a new one in California. I'll let that play while I talk for a minute. Do you think it's possible the Schumann frequency is actually picking up something else? You know? Some other kind of frequency? Of course, completely irrelevant from that right there. Don't forget, my forgetful people. It was Alaska that had the 7.2 earthquake that brought tsunami warnings. But nothing in particular about Alaska. I'm telling you all the truth, we have not seen nothing yet. You might say I'm reaching, but give me 1 second. How does one come up with the theory, the blueprints, and the idea, and the technology to see through human skin to into the bones and into the brain tissue? In just over 100 years, we went from bloodletting and no planes to all this super technological stuff from nothing. That's the point, from nothing. We randomly learned how to do all of this stuff. Someone or something out there helped us to be the technological people that we are today. You know, last year I made this video about how the Apple chip I was theorizing was fallen angel technology. And although about everybody stole the video and the idea from me before they all were stealing it, everyone was telling me I was reaching. And by the way, I'm glad the idea was taken and pushed through so many people, because it's important that we're aware that we may have had help. But of course, you should be crediting people with their discoveries, but I digress. You know, we have another eclipse coming, but there is something very weird about the last eclipse. There were theories that we received some kind of technology in the process of it, and then the AI took off like we've never seen. And we'll talk about that tonight because it's happening again at the beginning of August. In the book of Enoch, it talks about the fallen angels coming down and giving technology, insight, and wisdom to mankind. And we know from archaeology and archaeological finds that humans used to be very, very advanced. That right there is a story for a different time. So is it really a reach to say that we had supernatural help to make something out of completely nothing? Before you answer, you should know this, that most modern technology all came from ideas and principles from Tesla, which he claims he got from other sources. It makes sense. Have you all noticed all the planes going down the last 2 days and completely unrelated, not relevant at all the earthquakes and the floods and the weather at the same exact time? We'll get right back to the unrelated planes. Everything you're seeing behind me happened in the last 12 hours. It's not just the US, the entire world is underwater. Pakistan, and what you just saw was Pakistan. It's insane over there. We're about to look at Russia and China and other places in 1 second. This is China. What in the world is going on where the whole earth floods at the same exact time? I wonder what's up besides planes. In Russia, they got the most rain they've had since 1870s. And I'm sure if you remember all the 1 in 1,000 year storms in the US all the same exact week. But do you remember all the earthquakes that were right around Russia and Alaska? Indonesia. Did you know that 2 or 3 more earthquakes were added to that list since then? And then, yeah, remember the plane that just spontaneously combusted in the sky? And then Alaska had to ground all of their planes for what they say was an IT thing. Of course, it's not relevant. And then away from Alaska, In Russia, we had a plane go down in Bangladesh and 19 people so far passed away. Now, completely unrelated from both the planes and the floods and the earthquakes, cool fact, people on Twitter are complaining of a very strange low humming or buzzing sound. They say they can feel the vibration of the buzz in their spine. By the way, check out these awesome clouds in the UK. Oh, and don't forget to watch Ukraine where all the locusts were. Why? You'll see. We now have fish dying in the water, and this behind me is DC. There is a massive problem, y'all. The problem is it's been 7 days, I'm still covering floods happening every single day. Come right back to the fish. The locals in DC said that they have never seen anything like this in their life, and they have always lived there. This was a few hours ago in Nevada. Hurricanes aren't even here yet, and we have creeks being turned into rivers every day. And we have cloud formations like this popping up every single day in other parts. This up here is South Carolina, where clouds are falling from the sky. And we have cloud shelves literally touching the trees. And 1000% unrelated, not relevant whatsoever, look how beautiful the clouds are right here. I've never seen anything like that before. Let me tell you what we're entering. We're entering the place where it's normal for the US to flood every single day. Oh, and by the way, I forgot to show you guys Virginia yesterday. Pretty crazy, right? Obviously, we're aware that something must be increasing the flooding. Even the Weather Channel came out and said 70% abnormal. So is it connected to the thing that's unaliving these fish? Who knows, but I can tell you this, hurricane season is waking up right now as we speak, and I wonder if that'll be affected as well. You want a chance to call me a liar? Okay, 1 second. Watch how I read the brains of 100,000 people at one time. So when Peter did not even know Jesus at all, his brother Andrew had come and got him and said the Messiah's here. Jesus already had a name for him. He said, "You are Simon, the son of Jonah. I give you a new name, Cephas, being interpreted a rock or a stone." You'll start to get this in 1 minute. So Peter did not know Jesus at all, nothing of him. And Jesus saw Peter as he was, but not just as he was. He saw everything that he had for him in the future. So his first encounter with Jesus, Jesus is looking at him outside of time in the future saying, "I'm gonna have you do this, this, and this for me, and you don't even know it yet, but I will go ahead and give you your new name." My friends, this is a story for every single person alive, breathing right now. You might know Jesus, you might not know him, but he knows you. He had foreordained good works for you to walk in. He's provided you with a good name that you might not even know yet. Such grand things are gonna happen in your life and you have no idea because you're worrying about today and tomorrow and the next day and what you can do and what you can provide when it's all about what he can do in us. That's why your life right now seems random. It seems like you're working just to live, like you're living just to live, because you're living on your own authority and your own works and what you want to do or what you think you're called to do. But when Jesus knew you, when he saw you, he had a new name just for you. And to prove this to you right now, Jesus called Peter a stone when he first met him in the flesh. In Matthew chapter 16, Jesus says, "Who do you think I am?" And Peter says, "Thou art the Christ." And Jesus says to him, "Thou art Peter, and on this stone, on this rock, I will build my church, and the gates of hell shall not prevail." So when Jesus gave Peter the name Cephas and the stone, he had already before ordained that on that stone he would build his church, and upon that church the gates of hell shall not prevail. Neither demons nor sickness nor schemes nor operations nor anything of the devil shall prevail upon his rock, right? Upon Peter, upon Cephas. You have been living just to live. You've been breathing just to breathe, and your life feels meaningless. Can I give you some advice? We have much more than Peter. We have the Spirit of God himself living inside of us. We have the things the prophets desired to look into. The promises of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob that all went to their grave waiting for these promises. There's a specific calling on your life that only you can do, that we can't even imagine. It's so unfathomably grand and huge that we could never even think to walk in such a thing, but it's there just for you. My advice, which I am so sure will work, that if it doesn't, you can come back in 3 months and call me a liar. And that would be, start letting God make your decisions. Every single decision in your life, ask him. Wait for his direction and his answer. What you eat, who you talk to, who you pray for, what you do. Put it all on the Lord and start walking in his will. Things small and big, thoughtless and thought-provoking. Every literal thing, lean on the Lord for his direction in every single step of your life. And I'm so sure that within 3 months, you're not on a brand new trajectory, then you can call me a liar. I know because I lived it and I'm still living it.